first question. We'll start with Eric Boland.
Hey, Clint, how meaningful was it for you in the offseason to hear both Cashman and Boone say that you're the starting left fielder for 2021?
It was cool. I found it out through Twitter. Obviously, none of those words have been spoken to me directly, but it feels good to know that, 2021 is a little bit of a different feeling than it has been in years past. And I feel very much so like a part of this team moving forward. And I'm really excited, to be honest. I'm thrilled.
Thank you, Clint.
We'll take the next one from Ken Davidoff.
Hey, Clint. Fifth full year in the organization now, and as you said, a little different feel for you this year. You've been through a lot. Wondering how is it tough at all to balance your earned excitement against the the normal humility that this game does humble you?
I couldn't really hear you a little bit. If you don't, sorry about that.
I'm going to turn up the question.
Turn the volume up. A little muffled.
All right.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. So just the idea that, it's your fifth full year in the organization, you've been through a lot, and, you've kind of earned that excitement that you're feeling. As you said, it's a little different, but how do you kind of balance that against the normal humility that all ball players have just because this game does humble you?
Yeah. I try not to think that I'm going to come into the season and just hit 60 home runs because of the way the off season went. It's really fun to hit in the off season, but it's hard. So coming into the season, I try to balance what the actual expectations are versus how many home runs I hit off of the hit tracks in the off season. But, I think for me, the thing that I'm most excited about is the possibility to get a full season of at-bats and really just to see kind of what I'm capable of, because I do, in my mind, have expectations that I'd like to see come to fruition. And the game is hard. It's a lot harder, I feel like, playing in New York, but I feel like the last couple of years have prepared me for what it's like to have highs and what it's like to have lows, and really how to find that happy medium to just go about my business the right way.
60 homers, the expectation you're talking about?
Oof. After watching the pace that Luke was on last year and knowing that that's probably what 60 home runs would look like, I don't know if I'm in that company just yet.
Do you have specific numbers in mind, though, even if you're not going to share them with us?
I have a couple bets in my head that I've made with myself. Not bets, I guess goals that I've made with myself of, I know in my career I have 162 games played exactly. And I'm hitting 258 with 24 and 82 home runs. So to know that over the course of a couple years where I didn't get a consistent amount of at-bats, and that's the numbers I put together, I feel really good about the numbers in my head that I, kind of have looking at those numbers. So especially with the progress I feel like I've made in some areas of my game.
Thank you, Clint.
Next one goes to Brian Hoke. Please unmute.
Hey, Clint. What's the difference coming in knowing that you're expected to have the starting job rather than having to fight for playing time the way you have every other year?
I think for me, the biggest difference is I feel like the pressure I have off of my shoulders, but there still is added pressure of maintaining that job. I've been trying to earn the job, and I guess I've kind of earned it now. Brett's obviously held it down for so long, and there's so many other guys capable of doing it. But I'm just trying to go about it like I'm playing, glorified wiffle ball every day, and just trying to have fun, because ultimately it is a game. It was designed to have fun, but it is a numbers-driven game, and I feel really good about the way that my offseason went and what these first couple of days of camp have felt like for me.
Take the next one from Sweeney Murdy.
Clint, it's nice to see you. Seems you know all your numbers by heart, and I would imagine that the difference last year in the walks to strikeouts, you probably took notice of too. It's a pretty significant jump from where you were a couple of years ago. I'm wondering what really went into that, the difference in plate discipline and how much you focused on that.
So last year, coming into camp, I felt like when I minimized the amount of moving parts I had in my, stance and my swing and overall setup, it kind of gave me the only thought of like hitting the baseball, because sometimes when you have a lot going on, you have to think about the timing of getting it out of the way and then swinging at the pitch. So like, to take you back, like I remember being with Cleveland, and I was in instructional league, and we were facing a team from Taiwan, and they had all these crazy deliveries, right? So I was so focused on trying to time up their delivery that by the time the ball came to the plate, I could not swing. Like, it wasn't the thought in my head, right? So with all that happening, it really made me realize, like, hey, like I have a lot of stuff that just distracts from what I'm trying to do, which is to hit a baseball. So in order for me to do that, I limited some movements. I put myself in what I thought was a better position, and it just gave me the ability to just focus on like certain spots in the strike zone that I know that I can do damage on. And I think overall, just the consistency of the games in a row that I got to play, the amount of at-bats, it's just, I didn't feel like I was looking over my shoulder the entire time wondering how many more days do I have until I have to take a black car down to Scranton and try to, move forward from there. But I think it's just a combination of me finding out who I am as a player, limiting some stuff that probably wasn't necessary in my setup, and then overall the consistency of the at-bats.
And the extra year removed from the concussion, has that made as big a difference as it appeared to last year?
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone that has experienced, post-concussive syndrome would understand what it's like. It's a helpless feeling. And it just overall is not great quality of life. And to try to hit a baseball that's being thrown by guys that are exceptional athletes and throwing as hard as they can, and then trying to track down fly balls, it's just, it's very difficult because my everyday life was hindered. And obviously there were some things in baseball that I didn't do as well, trying to, whenever I was facing those symptoms. So I feel good. I'm going to try to stay away from the wall and just hope for a healthy season.
You haven't experienced anything else?
No,
You haven't no other concussion symptoms or anything like that?
nothing right now. I mean, I think it's just, I joked the other day, like not running into the wall is just a matter of knowing where you are out there. So I need to go out there and try to build a good relationship with all those walls so I can stay away from them. Thank you.
Meredith, you have the next question.
Hey, Clint, you mentioned Brett Gardner earlier, and you've said multiple times in the past how much you value him as a teammate and somebody that's helped you develop at this level. What do you think it is about him that has been such a strength towards you, a voice that you were able to listen to and really implement some of the things that he's told you?
I think where it starts, I think where the first thought goes with Brett is how he handled going about a young guy coming in that plays the same position as him and was vocal about wanting to win that job, and just how he treated me, still knowing that it's a competition, but it's his job to lose and other guys are trying to take it. And he went about it in such a positive way that I felt like it was such like a big brother, little brother relationship, because he's obviously done a really good job at maintaining that position for so long with, a lot of really good teams in the past. And he's such a good teammate. He's such a jokester. Like he's a little kid. I swear he's more immature than I am, but it's just, he makes you feel comfortable. He makes everyone around him better. And I don't think there was one person that wasn't excited whenever they saw that Brett was coming back. And I think that I was probably at the top of the list because there is still things that he can teach me as a player and teach me as a man moving forward that I can incorporate in my everyday life and in baseball.
Does the relationship change at all now, Clint, that it looks like you're going to be the starting left fielder?
I don't think so. I haven't actually shagged with him and left yet. So I'll crack a few jokes at him, but hopefully now that things are different, I can just keep my turtleneck moving forward and he can go find his own, because I think now I deserve it.
Thanks, Clint.
Next one goes to Brendan Cuddy.
Hey, Clint, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. You mentioned how you feel like a weight off your shoulders a little bit, finding out that you're going to be the starting left fielder. But how about just the other things that aren't on you this spring? There's no hair talk. There's no trade talk. There's no numbers talk, like what number you're going to wear. Just losing all of that, how much more comfortable do you feel? And is this the most comfortable you felt really ever here?
It's it definitely helps. It's unnecessary distractions. Obviously can hinder your performance. So it definitely feels good, like knowing that whenever I walk into the locker room, that I don't have eyes on me for something that I possibly did that caused other people to have to answer questions. So I feel like I'm growing up. I feel like I'm a part of this team now, and that, everything that happened in the past obviously happened for a reason. And I'm still thrilled to be with this team because it is the greatest team I feel like to play for. And, you learn from those things. And I don't want to be a guy that's a distraction. I just want to be a guy that is someone that has fun and maintains who he is through this process, and ultimately is a good teammate to everyone that, comes around me.
Thank you.
John Schwartz, you have the next question.
Hey, Clint, how are you? Obviously, we've all for a long time watched what Giancarlo can do when he makes contact. As someone who knows hitting yourself, what impresses you most about the way he goes about his business and just how he's able to be so effective when he's in there?
G is awesome. He's someone that he's a man of very few words, and he's a guy with a ton of talent. So it's fun to be around him. I kind of have to poke him to try to get him to, give me some insight sometimes, but he and Judge, and obviously there's a few other guys that the size that they are and the way that they hit the baseball. I mean, I did something with the Yes Network the other day where it said that I'm probably ruining the trivia question that's going to be on the board, but Stanton has the highest exit velocity every year on StatCast. And that is insane to me because he's such a physical being. And obviously we want him in the lineup as much as we can because he's such a force. And, there's a reason why he won the MVP. There's a reason why he has the career that he has. And it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of God-given talent. And ultimately, he's the man. I mean, I love shadowing him around every day and just, trying to pick on him as much as I can.
You mentioned, though, that he's a man of few words, but, he was in here yesterday speaking about how actually he did try to use his voice a little more last year, not just about baseball stuff, but other stuff too. What did you yourself learn from the experiences that you saw him going through last year and from the messages that he was trying to spread around the team?
It was cool, because there's with G, you see a guy that when he walks in the room, that he's in there because of how physical he is. And it was cool that he was speaking up because there are people in that room that have never experienced anything like others have. And when he was speaking out and he was talking about things that he had experienced and others were talking about it, it really, it pulled at your heartstrings, and it made you realize that the way that these guys compartmentalize some of the things that happen in their everyday life versus what's happening at the field is really impressive, because ultimately we are human beings that go through everything in a different way than other people. And Stanton has drawn a lot of attention over these last few years of being here, and he's still the same guy, and he's still capable of doing really great things. And I think everyone wants to see him in the plate every at bat, because he's a guy that if you mess up, he's gonna be jogging pretty slowly around the bases and getting a few RBIs.
Next one goes to Ron Blum.
Hey, Clint, you mentioned before how much you've learned from Brett. What are some of the things that you've learned from him over the last few years?
I mean, I think one thing that sticks out the most is Brett's one of the best teammates that I've had, and the way that he interacts with people is a unique way, and it's a way that I feel like a lot of people should take a note out of his book and try to interact with other people like that as well, because there's a reason that he keeps coming back, and there's a reason that people keep wanting him back. So he sets the foundation of what it's like to be a great teammate. So I learned that from him. There was obviously in 2019 a lot of discussions in the outfield where he was just trying to give any bit of advice he could on the mishaps that I was having in the outfield. There was times when he pulled me over into his room just to put his arm around me and just to talk to me, because he knew that I was, going through some tough times with some distractions that I had caused. And Brett's just been a light that keeps shining really bright for me. And I'd selfishly like to have this guy around until he's like 50, just so I could finish my career with him.
Thank you.
Bruce Beck, you have the next question.
Clint, defense. I remember talking to you about a little bit of hesitation that you had when you were getting through those concussions. And when did it kind of clear? When did you get to the point where you were reckless again, going for the ball, diving, and you felt comfortable?
I would say after the 2019 season, in the off season, I had started to experience some relief with the symptoms that I was still having. I tried everything. I mean, that it's so difficult with concussions. I mean, I feel for the people that are going through them, because I still get messages on social media about kids that are possibly going through it and asking for any sort of advice, because it is something that affects people so much differently. But in the off season, going into the 2020 season, I started to feel like myself again. And it starts in the morning for me. How I wake up, it's like, it's really difficult to explain it. You feel like you're one step behind, and to try to hit a ball that's moving, or trying to catch a ball that is caught up in the sun or is caught up in a cloud. And it's just like, it was super difficult. So I definitely was really excited that I felt like myself again, because waking up every day, it was a struggle to go about my day the way that I had used to go about it in the past without having any of these symptoms. So 2020, I felt like was all me, as far as, how things went the right way for the first time. And I kind of reaped the benefits of what ultimately I had worked towards all this time.
And you were a Gold Glove nominee, which is amazing. Just one other quick thing. Now that you're the wily older guy, what's your message to these young guys about patience?
I heard, Cashman said something the other day that sticks out with me, because it is something that makes sense to me, where I can't remember it verbatim, but it was like, if times are tough and you think it's done, but or something like that, when times are tough and you're still feeling discomfort in any way, then the times aren't over. And for that, I really botched that. I'm not gonna lie. But basically, you got to be patient, because during times where things aren't going your way, unfortunately, we can't play GM, we can't play these other jobs, but all we can do is play ourselves and go about it the right way. And you never know who's watching. And ultimately, I think it's just continue to be confident, continue to be patient, and continue to just go about the work the way that you know that you can. And if it doesn't happen with one organization, it can happen with another. And that's my message, because I never thought in a million years, whenever I got drafted by the Indians, that I would be a New York Yankee. And I had a lot of bitterness, because I felt like I could have been in the big leagues with the Indians the years that I was sitting in Scranton. So it was tough, but I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, because this is the team that I want to play for. And I think it's the team that everybody should want to play for.
Thank you.
I really botched that.
Let's make up for it here. We'll take the final two in queue. We'll go to James Wagner first.
Hey, Clint, good to see you. Hope all's well. Hope you can hear me. Sorry for the noise. Two quick ones. I mean, not to lead you in any direction, what did you miss most about last year? Was it fans in the stands? I guess you'll have some starting in spring training and then the regular season. What did you miss most about like regular baseball last year?
I definitely think the fans, in a sense, but like I think it wasn't. I don't want to say it was just the fans. I think I just missed normalcy. You know, a lot of us missed what was so normal to us, and obviously, normal included fans coming to games. It didn't include all the stuff that we have to go through on a daily, stuff that you guys have to go through as well. Like the normalcy for everybody is just something that I think that we all miss in a way, but you know, hopefully, you know, we can get back to that normal and people can come to the games and we can create a safe environment that people feel comfortable in and you know, get back to what we all love to do, which is play baseball, and we love to entertain and people love to come watch us and support us, and I just want things to be normal again.
And the second one was just there's videos going to be back in the you know, access to live video during a game now. I think they're going to like fuzz out some sort of signs. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but you guys will have access to that again. What do you think of that? And do you like the use of technology in a game? I know you didn't have it last year. Do you think there's too much, I guess, just overall?
So last year, I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't use the video room at all, really. Even whenever we had access to it, before the games or after the games, I never really went in there and watched anything about myself because I feel like I'm a person that kind of overanalyzes it too much in there. You know what I mean? Like your body speaks feel, and I know in the box kind of what I need, but I understand why we couldn't do it because obviously it was taken too far. But for me personally, it didn't affect me as much. I definitely think this year, knowing that it is there, I'll probably pop in and out every now and then, but I won't be one of those guys that's a video rat in there, just, you know, grinding on the mouse and keyboard.
And we'll take a final one from Lindsay Adler.
Hi, Clint. You talked about how you're sort of relieved knowing that you can walk in there, know that you're not doing things that your teammates have to answer for. It seemed like you really came back from last year's hiatus into summer training camp, sort of a little bit different. And I know you've talked about your girlfriend, you've talked about your relationship with Brett Gardner. Could you sort of like walk us through what really did sort of help you get to that point where you could look back at things and be like, okay, these are not decisions that I would make today?
I think it's I don't think it's just one person that helped me along the way. I think it's a combination of a lot of really good people that have been in my corner for a long time. And obviously I spend every day and every night with my girlfriend, and she will hold me accountable for things that I do. So I try not to be too wild, but also my teammates hold me accountable as well. And I think overall, I just kind of got to the point where it was, like I mentioned earlier, where you don't want to ever walk in the locker room and feel like eyes are on you because you caused another person to have to answer a question about something that you did, and them have to give the explanation. Because I think whenever you have the outside distractions like that, whenever you are struggling as a player, it is harder to get the guys to put you under their wing and wrap their arms around you and want to lift you up because you were causing distractions. So for me, it was like, all right, I've gone through all this. No one's talking about my performance as much as they're talking about the other outside things. And I think it was something that I definitely got tired of, people just talking about things that didn't matter anymore. And it meant that I had to tone down some things that maybe I did that gave people reasons to talk. And I feel like through all of it, I still stayed myself, but I learned to make it a little bit more of a mild version rather than like a Tabasco hot sauce hot. So I'm still having fun. I'm still me behind the scenes, but I'm just trying to be a grown up and the best teammate that I can.
And what do you think, sort of looking back at younger Clint? And is there anything that, like, if you could talk to Clint from 2018 or 2019, is there anything that you think that you would say?
There's probably a lot of things that Clint and I would have talked about in 2018, 2019. But I think that all those things kind of helped me get into a place where I'm at right now, because I did, like I said, I did experience a lot of highs and I did experience a lot of lows. And I do believe in my heart that even through the lows, I still performed. I still, besides blatantly missing fly balls, I still hit and I still performed as a player. So it never really affected me. It just became a nuisance, and I think it's just one of those things where if I could talk to that guy, or if I could write a letter to myself back in the day and just leave it there, I would say, I think you need to be yourself, but you need to tone it down and just relax, shut up, and just swing the bat. So, and catch the balls, catch the fly balls. So, but I'm happy with who I am. I'm not ashamed of things that I did in the past, because looking at the big picture, it was not anything that was really that bad. It was just things that a younger version of myself didn't go about the right way that I learned from, and I'm sitting here as an older 26-year-old now, trying to give advice to younger kids.
Well, that was a conclusion. Lindsay, thank you. Clint, thank you. Everyone, thank you. We'll have Booney here shortly. Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Hang tight, everyone.